I noticed I've been uploading a lot less lately, so let's get back into the habit of making videos. Now, let's get into this. Naruto. We cut to a 4-year old Naruto. At this point, Naruto had pretty much died and came back to life because of the Nine Tails and the Death God rejecting him because of the fact that his soul, it was not time for his soul to enter the gates of the dead. Until eventually we see Naruto walking with a smug look on his face. He had just duped a shop owner earlier today into giving him an extra piece of bread, which this was actually a full piece of bread. But since no one liked him, they charged him a lot more for just half of the bread. Yes, I did it. As then we go to the bread owner. I'll pay you 80,000. Bring me his head. All right. As then these two, irrelevant people disappear. The people reappear um in the middle of the night while Naruto was simply roaming across the streets trying to find some more food. That's because of the fact that he hadn't ate in 4 weeks now. And after eating that bread, I mean, you would think that you would eat all of that bread if you hadn't eaten in 4 weeks. He quickly gobbled down on a dead rat. He was just so hungry, and he had to do this around. He had eaten a dead rat almost 3 times that week. Eventually, his immune system just got used to all of the diseases that the rat brings along, and he became immune to such. So Naruto is snacking on the dead rat, as then he gets punched in the head. His head flies down towards the ground while still eating and picking the bones of the dead rat off. His head hits the ground as his nose begins to bleed. He he was caught off guard, but he knew that if he had passed out, he would die for sure. He quickly got up and tried to run away, but he was slung into the wall again. Then the other man kicked him in his stomach while the other held up his arms. Naruto screamed out in pain while a villager passed by the alleyway. He then returned to the alleyway, seeing the demonstration of Naruto's of what was happening to Naruto. He then joined in as it was not too long as around 15 people who were walking late at night had gathered together to beat upon Naruto. Naruto then died. Once they felt his cold body, once they felt that his His heart was no longer pumping blood throughout him. They dispersed quickly. The next day, the shop owner had noticed that Naruto wasn't around. In fact, most people noticed that Naruto was not around the village. They grew paranoid that the demon was plotting something on them, so they decided to check the village for him. Eventually, they found the dead Naruto's body laying lifeless onto the ground. Haru's all my fault. Only if I told everyone that it was off limits. Naruto. Hiruzen cried out, feeling infuriated. He then sent out his ambush squads to investigate the area. Once investigating the area, they quickly, swiftly found evidence of a struggle in that he was beat to death based on scarred tissue, the scarred tissue that Naruto had. Hiruzen wanted to find the people who had murdered Naruto. Her, um, Sarutobi wanted to place Naruto's dead body in the hero section of the graveyard, while the Leaf villagers and council and his best friends decided against so. They placed his dead body in the place where regular civilians were, but it was on the area where basically crackheads and drunks' bodies laid. It was where the unwanted people's bodies laid. Naruto's spirit. Naruto lingered above the village, constantly seeing what had happened, although he neglected the fact that Hiruzen was sad. He felt as if Hiruzen had betrayed him. He hated the villagers, but he knew that there's no sense in crying. Naruto's coffin. No, the spirit world. Death, the secretary said at the foot of Death's bed. Death! He then went across the bed and shook up the master of life and the master of pretty much death. Death woke up and arose. What? We have another one dead. Can you collect his soul? Why don't you do it? You always have me working here. Who is it? As Death Jin checked in on his book. Naruto Uzumaki. No. Return his body to the living world. Return his soul to his body. He was not meant to die. He doesn't die until something about Otsutsuki. I don't know. Just put his soul back into his body. Alright. Geez, you're always giving me all your work. Why don't you do it yourself? I can hear you. You may think that I have hollow spaces for ears, but I can still hear you. Jeez. Then Death's secretary found Naruto's soul lingering above the Leaf Village. Then Naruto's POV. Naruto seen a gigantic man with, well, he seemed to be gigantic to him. He seemed around a villager's height. Naruto flinched in fear. Geez, he's always giving me his work. Naruto heard this ancient this death god speak. Like he's acting like I don't have another 10,000, well, 10 million years before I take on the mantle as the god of death. Why didn't he tell his sister to do it? Hey, you can return to your body. Wait. Is that you, pal? What's up, Naruto? As he then shook Naruto's hand. Dude, I haven't seen you in a couple of months. Jeez. Not to say this in a bad way, but I don't want to see you dead anymore. Hey, older bro Death, can you train me so I can become so strong that none of them will be able to hurt me anymore? Nope, sorry. I gotta do my job. Since I'm gonna be the almighty death god. Really, nigga? Really? Look at this nigga. Anyway, the death god, or who is known as the son of death, then said, fine, since I can't train you, I'll give you a little bit of my power. Then he writ a symbol. Then he snapped. As the symbol then shot towards Naruto's spirit, it latched onto his arm, as then Naruto screamed out, saying that it burned. And then since I'm just gonna say his name since Naruto already knows him. His name is Raito Yamanaka. No, Raito. Raito, and his father is Delos. And then he said, it hurt the first time for me as well. As a matter of fact, once I retire, you're going to be the death god. But for now, you only have a little insignificant amount of my power. Bye! Bye, as then he pointed towards Naruto, then shot his finger towards the ground. Then Naruto shot into his body. Naruto smirked wildly. Once in the coffin, he then used the little space that he had and then slammed his leg with surprisingly a lot more power than he thought he had. The coffin in the dirt above such shot up. Hearing this loud noise, Abu came to investigate the area swiftly. Once Naruto got out of the coffin, he disappeared. Near the outskirts of the village. Hmm. Near the outskirts of the village, Naruto had gained a little bit of knowledge about things just from the power of the death god's son. And then he then charged chakra into his fist. As then we have a time skip to basic canon. We see Naruto with the blade on his side with a shirt with pants and a shirt that had red clouds on them. Shit. Red clouds and it was black. Naruto then walked throughout a field. He then said, Rakiyomi, summoning his blade of death. This blade instantly killed anyone that was unfortunate enough to have their skin be cut by it. And it was awfully hard not to cut anyone with this blade, simply because of the fact it was so sharp that if he put the blade on anything, it usually this with a little bit of force by either the shifting of the earth or just wind alone. It usually cut through things. And people who wanted to carry his blade had to could not clean it. Only Naruto could. Because they thought his skin was hard or something. Naruto, within the field, he swung down his blade, spinning around with. No, he swung down his blade. Then he turned the direction of the blade going rightwards and spun around with the blade with practical ease. He spun around so quickly that it was causing a vacuum sucking air into the area, and sometimes, but not often, some bugs, no, a lot of bugs, and sometimes medium items the size of the human body would fly into it. Naruto called this the vortex of death because of the fact if anyone literally were sucked into the vortex, they would die on contact simply because of how fast Naruto is and how deadly his blade is. I should be getting my new teammate now. Right about now, Naruto said. As then, a man with a mask on came around. He said, "Hi, I'm Toby." Naruto then said, "Fuck. I've been put on a team with a little shithead." And then he said, "Gee, sorry. Why did you have to die?" "The boss said come here. We have a mission to do," Toby said, as he was acting goofy as hell. Then they then went inside Naruto. No. Death. Toby, I'm assigning you to a mission. You have to hunt down and kill a man known as Zabuza Momochi. He didn't pay us back. I told him if he borrowed money from us or organization, he would have to pay us back double. Instead, he paid a fraction of the original cost. So, you have to hunt him down, either kill him or take all of his money. Dead. Naruto then said, he's dead. And then Toby said, Boss, why is the little kid a part of the Akatsuki? You ask me, Toby said. Pain said. As then Conan came in, she then looked at Naruto, or who he called himself, Death. Now, if y'all are wondering, Toby had said Naruto because he knew his name, while all the other Akatsuki members did. Naruto had put his name as an alias. No, not really an alias. Like a code name or something. A work name. But Pain eyes then slightly opened wide. Then they shrunk back to the original size. Perfect, Pain thought. Once he's done, we'll kill him and take his Piju to create peace. Then Naruto and Toby went on the mission. Naruto walked throughout the road with his blade gripping onto his blade tightly. He didn't know why this person acted so silly, but based on their power alone, which he could easily sense, this guy was threatening. Toby then said, Hey, Naruto, why you carrying around that weird blade with you? Naruto heard a hint of basically a lie within his tone. You know the exact reason why. Naruto thought, because it was given to me. It was given to me by my father, the god of death. Toby then made a fake laugh, but since Naruto didn't really know how his real voice sounded and how he actually laughed, it seemed real enough. Let's go, I sense him. Then Naruto speeded across the ground, and then Toby speeded up with him at immense speeds. Then, as I was saying, they heard noises within the house that Zabuza and Haku were in. Haku! Haku! What are you doing here? I thought that you were still doing that mission. As a as in a female voice said, You want to have a threesome? No! Zabuza said. No, I think we both know why not. Here. As then, Haku then quickly shut the door, as that's what Naruto heard. Then Zabuza heard something from outside since he did say he could use the sound alone to murk a nigger. He can use the sound alone to murk you. That's saying something. I see you. I'm trying to murk the fuck out of your ass. As then Naruto swung his sword down, slicing the house literally in half. Like, you get half of this. I'm taking the other half. Yeah, you see me. You see my cringy ass jokes that aren't working because I'm literally putting them in there to lengthen the video. Then Naruto slid through another joke, lengthened video. He slid through the small crack in the house that was a cut. Zabuza heard the woman screaming as he then went into the room to see her hand onto the ground while half of her arm was chopped off. She screamed loud. Then Naruto appeared. Your husband, or whatever you are, he owes me money. And then Naruto hit himself on the back of the neck with that extremely sharp blade. Toby then thought, how is that not cutting him? Then Naruto blitzed the fuck out of Zabuza. He went from every single angle and every single, he went around Zabuza, cutting the shit out of him. He cut Zabuza because of basically the accelerative force. That's probably a word I made up. But it is something that is true. The accelerative force. Zabuza's arm then fell off as both of them fell off. Now you won't be able to use your sword. Where's our money? Naruto said. Zabuza then screamed out as Haku heard such, and with his relatively slow speeds compared to Naruto, he appeared. As then he went in to attack Naruto. Naruto simply just moved his blade, which made it seem like his blade appeared. Who's your partner? Naruto said. As then an unknown person appeared as he smirked at Naruto. I feel like this video was not as good as the others. That's what I'd have to say. It's not as brilliant as my other videos, but I've just got out of making a lot of videos to making a little. So y'all gonna have to stop being mad at me. Cause y'all know what happened. And anyway, I'm gone. I did a good job. I know I did. Thank you. It's good that I ended this video.